What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today, actually, I'm not going to be needing that anymore. Today, we're going to be talking about time walking. Now, it was recently announced that in patch 6.2, time walking technology is going to be implemented in the World of Warcraft, and a lot of you guys are probably really excited about this, especially me, and probably a lot of you guys don't even know what I'm talking about. And so time walking is basically a technology, a scaling technology that Blizzard created that allows players to zone into instances, lower level instances, and have their players their character scale down to the appropriate level of that instance. So for example, like let's say Shattered Halls, all right? Shattered Halls is a level 70 instance. So you go in there as level 100, you're going to kill everything in one hit. Well, on Time Walker difficulty, you zone into Shattered Halls and it scales your character down all the way down to level 70 with appropriate stats and health and everything. And so I'm actually really excited about this, and I've been talking about time walking for quite a while, and I'm glad to see it finally happen. And I'll show you guys some of the dungeons that are going to be implemented in the PTR for time walking. And before I get too much into this, I do want to say, if you want to do PTR stuff with me, like these time walking dungeons, or pretty much any of the other stuff on PTR, go ahead and add Asmongold hashtag 1214, and I'll have it in the video description probably, or probably I might forget. And you can also join our guild on Netherion or something like that. It's called Swag Donalds. It's all caps. And so if you see somebody in that guild, there's like 7 people I think in the guild, and you can ask them for an invite. And if they're not AFK, they'll probably invite you. And so anyway, if you want to come and do PTR stuff like these, the time walking dungeons, go ahead and add me, and we'll set that up. But anyway, I do want to explain pretty much there is some controversy with this, and it's not entirely misplaced. And I do want to talk about this controversy. And the controversy is these time walking dungeons are not going to be available all the time. And they're only going to be available in the same way that the old Battleground weekends were available. And so you guys remember, like, one weekend, maybe you don't, but this is how it used to work on the weekends, and it would start on Friday and it would end on like Sunday night or something like that. And I think this one ends. Because I copy pasted some of this stuff from the article. It will go from noon Friday through noon Monday every week, and each week there's going to be, I guess, like a certain weekend event. And there's 7 weekend events, and 2 of those events will apparently be time walking weekends where you can go into these time walking dungeons. And I'm not entirely sure how all of this is going to work, to be completely honest with you guys. And so I'm very curious to see how it's going to happen. And understandably, a lot of people are pissed off about this because, like myself, for example, if they had implemented this 2 years ago, I would have been pissed off because I worked on Friday and Saturday, or not Friday, sorry, Saturday and Sunday a couple years ago, and that was for like 2 years. And so if I was going to want to do this, I really would not even have an opportunity to do it except for on Friday night, which I would of course want to do something with my real life friends or something else besides probably playing Warcraft, because I'd have to work for the rest of the weekend. Well, a lot of other people are probably in the same position, and one thing I do want to say before we go any further is I don't really know what the best solution for this. Like, I don't know. I don't really have a definite opinion, like it should be this way or it should be the other way. You know, they should have them open all the time or it should only be at certain times. And, it's a big conflict. And I can see both sides of the issue. And so I want to present to you guys the arguments for both sides and just kind of explain what's going on. And then talk to you guys about some of the, rewards for time walking. And also some of the dungeons that are going to be available. And again, on PTR, go ahead and add me. But anyway, so the main reason why a lot of people are mad, as I said before, is that, like, let's say they work on the weekends, or they only play during weekdays, and they leave the weekends with their kids or like whatever else. And so obviously this makes doing time walking dungeons more difficult for them. I think that to a certain extent, if you I think that it's kind of a valid concern, and I understand that from the other side, and I can also say that also having the dungeons only be available for a certain period of time creates a lot of hype, and there's going to be like a funnel of people. Everybody's going to want to do, like, one of the ones is Shattered Halls, and so everybody's going to want to do Shattered Halls. And so, for example, like if it was happening every day, as soon as the patch dropped, like, people would do these Time Walker dungeons over and over and over and over, and pretty much ad nauseum for about 2 weeks, and then complain that there's no more content. And by time gating it, which is a good and a bad thing, and a lot of people perceive it as a bad thing. I honestly do not have an opinion on this, or I don't really know where my opinion stands on this, but it's a thing, okay? It's a thing. And, time gating things make them, it's an artificial barrier, for one. That's a negative thing. But another thing is it creates hype, and, like, people, like, whenever it is available, everybody does it, right? So it's like a Headless Horseman event. Like Headless Horseman events out, like tons of people were in there, and Scarlet Monster, like doing that all the time just to get all this stuff. But it was available all the time. People would do it as many times as they wanted in order to get the stuff, and then nobody would do it again. And so I can see how, I guess, like having it only available for a certain period of time, as I said before, it creates the hype, it creates scarcity, scarcity creates value. And of course, the value of these things is not just going to be, oh, you can relive nostalgia. There's going to be a lot of other rewards associated with this. And one of the really cool things is you're going to be able to actually get epic items from. So, like, they gave the example of Utgard Pinnacle, the last boss, King Ymron. He drops the red sword of courage, and it's a tanking sword. And so, whenever you kill King Ymron, and I think that it's actually in, Utgard Pinnacle is one of the dungeons. If you kill King Ymron and it drops, you're going to get a scaled up level 100 version of the, the Red Sword of Courage. And so I'm actually really, really excited to see that. And I'm really, really happy to see that. And honestly, I'm happy to see any time walking stuff because I've just been really excited to see how it's going to work. And they said that they're going to be, the difficulty with a heroic difficulty. So if it's going to be heroics like they are right now, I'm not really going to be super excited because you're just able to face roll through heroics, honestly. And so I'm kind of curious to see how that's actually going to work. And also a lot of these dungeons, like, one of them is the Arcatraz, and Arcatraz was really, really hard back in 2006 and 2007. But now, whenever people have, like, just in general, like a larger toolkit of things to hold aggro, stronger AoE abilities, better healing, all kinds of that stuff, I don't really know how, having players scale down, how hard are these dungeons going to be? And, like back then, a lot of bosses didn't really have a lot of mechanics. They're very easy to avoid. And in general, like in terms of mechanically, the game has gotten a lot harder over the years. And so I'm kind of curious to see if they're going to change any mechanics or just make them, hit a lot harder or something like that to kind of test people and, emulate the difficulty that people experienced back in the Burning Crusade heroic days. And honestly, I hope that they do that, and I hope that actually make these things hard to do. I don't really want to face roll through Utgard Pinnacle for another 100 times. I did that 150 times in Wrath of the Lich King, and I don't need to do it 100 more. And so I do hope that they make it kind of difficult so you can actually have to go through there and have some thinking. But I'm not really sure what's going to happen, especially on the PTR. You're not able to, but there's it's a grayed out function, and we would be able to actually queue for for time walking dungeons. And so the odds are, if you're able to queue for it, you're probably it's probably not going to be too difficult. And so I will explain what the dungeons are. And so they say over the coming weeks we'll be testing time walking on the PTR in the following dungeons. Now I don't know if these are the only dungeons they're going to be doing it on whenever it's released, but this is the list, and so these are the for sure's. The Arcatraz, Black Morass, Mana Tomb, Shattered Halls, Slave Pens, Ancanet, Gundrak, Halls of Lightning, the Nexus, and Utgard Pinnacle. And so on top of getting the improved loot rewards that are scaled up to level 100, you're also going to get the only other reward that they've talked about is a level 100 quest that by completing a Time Walker dungeon, you're going to get a Seal of Fate, Tempered Seal of Fate. And so that's really cool because everybody likes bonus rolls. And that is one thing that I'm also kind of curious about because back in Burning Crusade, everybody really kind of wanted to do heroics because there was a universal currency system called Badges of Justice. And Badges of Justice, if you guys didn't play back then, functioned basically the same way that Valor Points did, except for they didn't cap. You could get as many as you wanted, and but you can only do the heroic once a day. And so people would go in and do heroics just so they could get more badges to build their gear up or to build off-spec gear. And some of the badge gear was actually pretty good. And so since Apaxis crystals are basically fucking worthless, let's be real, and also the gear, healing gear also has agility depending on if you change specs if you're a druid or something like that. And so I'm not really entirely sure how much they can incentivize doing these Time Walker dungeons, but I do think that they will need a little bit more incentivization besides just some upgraded loot, unless the loot is really good. I think that the loot should be really good. And besides just another Seal of Tempered Fate, because that won't really tempt a lot of people who aren't in the raiding scene already, who would probably be doing it already to begin with. And so I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to happen. And there's just a lot of things like that that I'm very curious about to see just kind of how this is going to play out. And that's why I'm really kind of, I don't know, because they're talking about these weekend events, and there's going to be 7 weekend events. And, a weekend event for, I guess, I don't know, is it going to be all the 7 weekend events every weekend? Or is it going to be 1 weekend event each weekend for 7 weeks and it repeats? I'm not entirely sure. The wording, it makes me think that it's going to be 1 event every weekend. But the point is, of course, that is one reason that I guess it would be good that it would, it's not going to be every single day. It wouldn't just, you can just do Time Walker Dungeons as many times as you want, just because, of course, people would kind of burn themselves out on it, and probably only do them on Tuesday. And just because that's whenever I guess I would assume that this Tempered Fate thing would reset. And I also am curious what the other 5 events are going to be. And so I have no idea. And so if you guys have an idea, let me know, and tell me what you guys think about this whole weekend only thing with the the Time Walker dungeons. I really don't know what to think. In one point, it's like, that's going to be really cool because everybody's going to be wanting to do them on the weekends. But at the same time, then there's going to be weekends where you can't even do them. And then other weekends where, people who have, I guess, like something that they have to do on the weekends that prevents them from playing. And so what is the solution here? And, if you guys have your own opinions, go ahead and let me know. But I haven't really quite made up my mind yet. So that's pretty much all I got, and I'm very glad that this is happening, regardless of how it turns out, if they do it every day or not at all, or just, I guess not at all wouldn't be good, but, only on the weekends. Both ways I'm going to be happy. And so I'm just going to stop it right there and say, this is great to hear. I'm very happy to hear it, and hopefully you guys are too. And let me know what you guys think about the weekend only thing. That's pretty much all I got. Thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.